Alright, so this is the geolocation project part of this section, and we're going to do two things in this section. The final project, what I want to do here is I added this register as developer link to the Blue Developer directory, and what it's going to be is it's just a little registration form, but instead of having us enter our location into a text field, we're going to have the geolocation find our location for us. We're not going to actually process the form or save anything or anything like that, because that would be more server side type of stuff, but we will get our position marked on a Google map. But before we do that, I want to do a simple example, because what we're doing here, we're implementing Google Maps APIs, and I'm not going to be able to explain every part of the code. So I want to do a simple example, and we're just gonna create a button that when you click it, it gives us the coordinates. It gives us the latitude and longitude fields for wherever you are. Okay, and for this particular section, I'm using IE because for some reason Google Chrome on my PC it won't deal with geolocation locally. Where I'm actually building on my own machine. I don't know if that's a global thing or what, but it's just no geolocation services are working that I run from my local machine, but they are working in Internet Explorer. So alright, so let's start. This is the program files section. We have the done, which is this, like every other project, and the Blue Developer HTML is just where we are up to this point. And then we have the simple.html example, which I'm going to create right now. So I'm going to open Notepad, and I'm going to open it. I'm going to have a new file, and I'm just going to save this just to my desktop. Alright, so we want to get our doc type, and just our base tags. Alright, so let's just create a button. Well, first let's just create a little paragraph saying click below to get your position. And now we'll create a button, and we do need to do some JavaScript, so we're going to get the on-click event, so when someone clicks the button, it's gonna run a function called show position. Your version of this file might be a little different. It might be show location or a different name, but that's it. I mean, it does the same thing. So we're gonna say show position. Okay, let's save that, and let's take a look at that in IE. Alright, so we just have a button. We just have a paragraph and a button. Right now it's not going to do anything. So now we want to open a script tag. And in here we want to start our function, the show position. So we're going to declare a function. And in this function we want to check, we want to make sure that the browser supports the geolocation. So we're going to say if navigation dot, I'm sorry, navigation, navigator dot geolocation. And you can also use Modernizer for this as well, but this is pretty easy. And we'll do an else. So if it doesn't, then we're just going to alert. I'm going to say alright, so they'll just get a message saying it doesn't support geolocation. Now if it does support geolocation, we want to get the get current position method. So we want to do navigator, and navigator is basically the browser object. If you know the document object model, you have the navigator object, the document, the window. So we're just specifying really the browser object. So we want to say geolocation dot get current position. Okay, remember we talked about that in the slideshow, and we want to use this show. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change this function to show location. Alright, so change that and this to location. And then this is going to be show position. This makes more sense. Alright, so that should be, yeah, so we're calling the get current position, and the show position will be the function we specify down here. So now we'll create this show position function, and we want to put the position as our parameter. Alright, so, and what I want to do here is I want this function to just alert us with our coordinates. So we want to do an alert, and in the alert, let's say latitude. Remember, this get current position method, it returns different values, and latitude and longitude coordinates are two of those, the values they can return, and that's what we're going to get. That's what we're going to display in the alert. And we want to get the position coordinates now, so what we're going to do here is just concatenate some more code. We're going to concatenate the latitude object. So we're going to say plus position, and the position is coming from here, which is coming from here. So position dot chords. Remember, I showed you the chart in the PowerPoint file with all the values that can be returned, all the objects that can be returned, and this is going to be the latitude object. And we want to concatenate again. We're just going in and out of JavaScript code here. That's what the plus signs and the quotes are all about. I just want to display it nicely in the alert box so we can see it clearly. So now we're going to do the position dot chords dot longitude. Okay, and that should do it. Alright, let's test it out. Actually, hold on a second. Alright, so I'm going to save that and reload. And Internet Explorer is asking me if I want to run scripts. I'm going to allow it, and then click the button, and you should get this. Depending on what browser you're using, you'll get some kind of pop-up that says simple.html wants to track your physical location. So you'll get something like that, and just click allow, and there's our latitude and our longitude points. Now you're probably saying, who cares about this? What's this going to do? But just the fact that we can get these points opens us to a whole world of map applications and tracking and geolocation. So it's very cool that we can do this in such a little amount of code. Like I said, this isn't really something useful to you, but at least this is, I mean, it just shows you how to get the coordinates. Now what I'm going to do is implement Google Maps with the script in the Blue Developer Directory website that we've been building. So I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to close this up, and I'm going to go to the HTML directory. I'm going to copy it because I don't want to work in you guys' folders and files. So I'm just going to paste it to my desktop. And what I want to do is, first of all, add a link, add a menu link. So let's open this. I'm going to open it in Internet Explorer. Let me close this old one and this. Now I want a link up here to register as a developer, and we all know how to do that. We're just going to add a link to the menu here in the HTML. Copy that. And I'm going to say register as developer, and we're going to create a new page for this, and it's going to be called register HTML. Now this is just the index page. I'm actually going to copy this and paste it in all the pages so that we don't only have this on. First of all, I'll save it and reload, and you'll see the link here, but if we go to the About Us page, it's gone. So I'm actually going to go into all the pages and add that link to the menu. Close. And I think that's all of them. Did I get this? Contact, yeah. Alright, so now we have a link, and we can click the link, but we don't have the register.html page yet. So we need to create a new page. So I'm going to create a page and save it. Make sure I'm in the right directory. I'm going to save it as register.html. Alright, now that we have this page, we can click here and it brings us to an empty page. So what I want to do is grab kind of the structure of the page. I want to grab the menus, everything but the main content. So I think the best example for us to grab would be the contact page, because it's an actual form like we're building. So let's just open that up, and I'm going to copy everything, close it, and then paste. And then all we want to do is let's change the heading to register as a developer. And this isn't going to be a complex form. I'm not going to use any special kind of form elements. I'm just going to do just a simple form, and then we're going to paste in the Google Map code. So let's just take everything out. Actually, let's leave that top field, the full name. Delete everything else. I'm going to change this to first name. copy this, and now last name. Now let's do email. These IDs and names aren't really important, but I like to have it structured. And then let's put our submit button. Input type submit, value register. Okay, let's go to the page, and we have our 3 text input fields. Now, how I want this to work is I want the next field to be a location field, but I don't want to have an input box. I want the site to find out where we are and mark our location. So if we wanted to, we could use that in the server-side processing. We're not going to do that, but we're just going to do the geolocation part of it. And what I want to do first is go up to the head and create a style tag. And I want to define, I'm going to have a div, and I'm going to call it map. And this is where I want the output up for the Google map to show up. And I'm going to make this a width of 400 and a height of 250. And I'm also going to float it left. And we're going to put that div right under the email field. So I'm actually going to this is going to be called location. Now we're not going to be putting an input field here. This is where I want the map to show up. So the first thing I want to do is define the div that we just styled. And we're not going to put anything between the div, it's just going to show here, so we'll leave that blank. And this script, I'm going to put the actual scripting right here under the, actually I'm going to put it outside of the form. Alright, so we want to check for, we want to make sure the browser supports the navigator geolocation object. Else Alright, so now we're going to work in here, okay? Alright, so now comes the hard part. And what I want to do is I want to bring in this PowerPoint. Let's close this for a minute. And this get current position. Now this is the main API, the main method that we use to get the position, okay? Obviously, I mean get current position. So I'm going to bring in the simple script we just did. And this is where we call that get current position, okay? And we're passing a value to it. We're passing the first value, which is the show location value, which defines the callback method that retrieves location information. So this is that callback. This is the show position function that we're actually creating here, and this returns these values, okay, these chords.latitude, chords.longitude, accuracy. This is what the get current position returns. So that's what we're using right here. See, it's the position.chords.latitude and longitude. So that's how we get the values, the coordinates that showed up in that alert. So now I want to bring in the full script with the Google Maps that we're actually doing right here. Alright, I know this is might look a little overwhelming with all these pages open, but I'm just trying to get it across. I'm trying to explain the best I can. So you'll see here we have the if the geolocation feature is supported, which is right here. I just want to kind of compare. Actually, I don't want to compare those. I want to compare the simple, because essentially we're doing the same thing. We're just outputting it differently. We're outputting it in an alert box here, and we're outputting it on a map here. So we're integrating the maps, all the programming from Google Maps. So we have the navigator, geolocation, get current position, which is the same thing we have here. Now, if I go to the PowerPoint, yes, I know it's overwhelming, but if we go here, we can see the get current position API parameters. And on this script, we use the first one, which we need to use, which is what retrieves the location. In the Google version, we are using all of these parameters. The first parameter we're using is this display position, which is created here, the display position. The second one is the display error function or method, whatever you want to call it, which is down here, which is the error handler. It defines the callback method that is invoked when an error occurs in the processing. And then the third parameter is the options. You see here options. It's a set of options for retrieving the location information. So we have enable high accuracy, the timeout, and the maximum age. So those are the options. That's the options parameter. So it's passing us to this display position, just like this script passed us to this show position. We just called it something different. I could have had display position here. It doesn't really matter what you call it. And then we're creating a variable, a POS variable, and it's instantiating a Google Maps object. Alright, so, and then we're adding, to get these options, we're adding variables to these options, and then we have a map, which is a new Google Maps object. And what this is the div. You'll see here it says document.getElementById, and we want the map ID, which is, let me get the script we're working on, which is right here. So this is this. Alright, so now we want to create a new Google marker object. We're creating new objects here. That's what you see, this new keyword. And this content string, this is what we're going to see when our pinpoint, we see our pinpoint on the map and we click on it. We're going to see this timestamp, and that's the info window. So when we click, there'll be a point showing us our location. We click on that, and this is what we'll see. That's what that part of the programming means. And then we add an event listener, so the map is listening for us. So that's the entire display position function. So next is the error function, and you define your errors in this way. We have the permission denied, position unavailable, and request timeout. So this only runs if there's a problem. And then this function is just parsing the timestamp. It's just formatting it for us, really. So that's the gist of the whole thing. That might not be the best explanation, but it's the one I got. So what I'm going to do is just copy all this from script to script and paste it here. Okay, I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to get rid of this, get rid of this, and get rid of this, and get this back. So I saved that, so I'm going to reload this page. Now, one thing I do want to add, I want this to be over here, because what I did is I floated that map div, so the register is floated as well. So I just want to add here, I want to clear it out, so I'm going to do clear both. I'll save that, reload. Now I know the register button is way down here, and that's just a layout formatting thing, so I'm not going to go into that. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So I'm just going to reload, and this is just an ActiveX control thing for Internet Explorer, so just ignore that if you're not using Internet Explorer. So now this is, like I said, this is what's important. It's asking if we want to track our physical location. So I'm going to click allow, and then there's our location. So you can see this would be really neat if this was a real website and you could just use this to input where you live, and instead of writing it. And if you click this, if you remember when we actually, I'll show you right here, the timestamp right here, the content string, the timestamp, and the info window, this is this right here. So I mean, we could have this say our name, our address. You know, if we really took the time and did the programming, we could make this you know, something really cool. So just this alone is cool. I think I really like the geolocation. I think there's a lot that you can do with it. It can get a little complicated, but there's a lot of resources on the web for stuff like this. For any kind of HTML5 stuff, there's tons of resources. So that's it for this tutorial. Next section, we're going to be dealing with web storage and local storage. So I will see you then.